Glacier is the highest battlefield in the world. Since Operation Meghdoot in 1984, India is in complete control of the Siachen Glacier.
Siachen Glacier is the highest and the coldest battlefield on entire Earth, where the Indian Army dominates its presence in order to maintain peace. Geography: the Siachen Glacier is a glacier located in the eastern Karakoram range in the Himalayas at about 35.421226 deg and 77.109540 deg, just northeast of the point NJ9842 where the line of control between India and Pakistan ends. At 76 kilometers long, it is the longest glacier in the Karakoram and second longest in the world's non-polar areas. It falls from an altitude of 5,753 meters 18,875 feet above sea level at its head at Indira Col on the India-China border down to 3,620 meters or 11,875 feet at its terminus. Dispute: both India and Pakistan claim sovereignty over the entire Siachen region. U.S. and Pakistani maps in the 1970s and 1980s consistently showed a dotted line from NJ9842, the northernmost demarcated point of the India-Pakistan ceasefire line, also known as the line of control to the Karakoram Pass, which India believed to be a cartographic error and in violation of the Shimla Agreement. Unofficials presumed there would be no dispute between India and Pakistan over such a cold and barren region. In 1984, India launched Operation Meghdoot, a military operation that gave India control over all of the Siachen Glacier, including its tributaries. Between 1984 and 1999, frequent skirmishes took place between India and Pakistan. Indian troops under Operation Meghdoot preempted Pakistan's Operation Ababil by just one day to occupy most of the dominating heights on Saltoro Ridge to the west of Siachen Glacier. Prior to 1984, neither India nor Pakistan had any permanent presence in the area. Having become aware of U.S. military maps and the permit incidents, Colonel Narendra Kumar, then commanding officer of the Indian Army's High-Altitude Warfare School, mounted an army expedition to the Siachen area as a counter-exercise. In 1978, this expedition climbed Taram Kangri II, claiming it as a first ascent in a typical or apolitical riposte. In 1977, an Indian colonel named Narendra Kumar, offended by international expeditions venturing onto the glacier from the Pakistani side, persuaded his superiors to allow him to lead a 70-man team of climbers and porters to the glacier. They returned in or around 1981, climbed several peaks and walked the length of Siachen. On the Baisakhi of 1984, Indian Army in a daring military operation landed its troops along Saltoro ridgeline at Bailafandla, followed by Jala, to preempt Pakistan Army plans to occupy Siachen Glacier. This successful landing, followed by more soldiers in successive waves of helicopter sorties, signaled the commencement of Operation Meghdoot, which today has the distinction of being the longest continuous military operation in the history of the Indian Army. The Indo-pak rivalry on the Siachen Glacier. Following all the information is described under the headings of dispute. Taking advantage of this ambiguity, Pakistan promoted many foreign expeditions between 1972 and 1983, accompanied by their army liaison officers across Jayongla, Bailafandla and Chala, with the aim of laying claim to the region. At Army headquarters in Rawalpindi, the discovery of repeated Indian military expeditions to the glacier drove Pakistani generals to the idea of securing Siachen before India did. This operation was called Operation Ababil. In the haste to pull together operational resources, Pakistan planners made a tactical error. According to a now retired Pakistani Army colonel, they ordered Arctic weather gear from a London outfitter who also supplied the Indians. Says the colonel, once the Indians got wind of it, they ordered 300 outfits, twice as many as we had, and rushed their men up to Siachen. The acquisition of key supplies needed for operations in glaciated zones marked the start of major combat operations on the glacier. April 1984, Operation Meghdoot. Indian Army under the leadership of Lt. Gen. Manohar Lal Chibber, Maj. Gen. Shiv Sharma, and Lt. Gen. Pianhun learned of the plan by Pakistan Army to seize Jala and Bailafandla, On the glacier, Indian Army launched an operation to preempt the seizure of the passes by the Pakistan Army. Men of the Ladakh Scouts and Kumaon Regiment occupy by Lafandla on the 13th of April Siachen Day, and Jala on the 17th of April 1984 with the help of the Indian Air Force. Pakistan Army, in turn, learned of the presence of Ladakh Scouts on the passes during a helicopter recon mission. In response to these developments, Pakistan Army initiated an operation using troops from the Special Services Group and Northern Light Infantry to displace the 300 or so Indian troops on the key passes. This operation led by the Pakistan Army led to the first armed clash on the glacier on the 25th of April 1984. Acknowledgements. Despite the high cost, India maintains presence, as Pakistani control of Siachen would allow them to put radar and monitor all Indian Air Force activity in Ladakh. It would also unite the Chinese and Pakistani front, and allow them to launch a combined attack on India in case of a conflict. It saves Indian Army from heavy cost of building defense infrastructure in the Nubra Valley. While stakes are high for India, Pakistan cannot be threatened with Indian control of Siachen as the terrain does not allow India to launch an offensive on Pakistan, but is a big question on Pakistan's ability to defend its territory claims. 1999 Kargil War was also an attempt to restrict supply route to Ladakh and Siachen. Both sides have shown desire to vacate the glacier as there are environmental and cost concerns. There are numerous negotiations between both parties, but have shown no significant progress. The process was further complicated when Pakistan violated ceasefire line in 1999 and built bunkers on Indian side and started artillery fire on Indian strategic highways, resulting in 1999 Kargil War. Even if both sides agree to demilitarize, a Pakistani occupation similar to 1999 will make it extremely difficult and expensive for India to reoccupy the glacier. The steady Chinese advancement in Himalayas is also a concern since 2020 Galwan incident, as the border understanding was violated and a similar incident, though unlikely, is possible, inflicting heavy cost on India. Siachen is seen as a major military setback by the Pakistani army. Pakistani generals view the Siachen Glacier as their land, which has been stolen by India. When India occupied the Saltoro Ridge in April 1984, Benazir Bhutto publicly taunted the Pakistan army as fit only to fight its own citizens. When, in June 1987, the Indian army captured the 153 feet high Quaid post and renamed it to Bana Top in honor of Naib Subadar Bana Singh, Bhutto once again publicly taunted the Pakistani generals, telling them to wear bangles if they cannot fight on the Siachen. Pull back from Siachen Glacier. Was it a bad idea? Should India consider withdrawing from Siachen? The question has many dimensions. Going by the arguments of the peaceniks, the glacier has no strategic value and that there are tremendous economic advantages of the withdrawal, both in terms of greenbacks and human costs, where a loaf of bread to a soldier costs 2,000 rupees, leave alone his special shoes and clothes. An American expert has said that both India and Pakistan are spending as much as 2 crore a day to maintain their military positions in the region. And then there are the human casualties, rising between 18,000 and 22,000 feet above sea level. Temperatures in the region can drop to an alarming 60 degrees Celsius below freezing. Total Indian casualties on Siachen since 1984 are estimated to be about 2,000, of which nearly all, 97% to be precise, of the deaths have been due to a variance of weather-related illness, fatigue or injuries. Diplomatically speaking, it is argued that withdrawal from Siachen will do both India and Pakistan a lot of good. It will earn tremendous international goodwill and go a long way in facilitating further the peace process in Kashmir. But then there are equally powerful counter-arguments. As a military power of consequence, money should not be a limiting factor, as maintenance of the troops elsewhere in the Himalayan range of comparable heights, which is vital for India's military preparedness, will also cost the country more or less the same. Ceasefire along the Siachen Glacier was declared by both the countries in 2004, which continues to hold even today. Periodically, unconfirmed reports emerge of discussions to effect a mutual pullback and demilitarizing the region. The strategic importance of Siachen Glacier lies in its providing depth to lay from the north, is also denying and providing critical alternate access to and from Daulat Bagoldi and onwards to the Dipsang Plains. The region assumes even greater significance with the emergence of a probable joint threat from Pakistan and China. Kargil 1999 and Galwan 2020 are glaring proof of the untrustworthiness of our adversaries, and should preclude any thoughts of Indian pullout from this sensitive and vital area. This is a powerful counter-argument, portraying the untrustworthiness of our neighbors. Our army, by hook or by crook, tirelessly works to maintain peace at even the toughest conditions on the entire planet, and it is our no less than life responsibility to act as a responsible citizen, helping our Jawans in all ways possible. One impactful way can be to be a good taxpayer, having all the claims and facts considered. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us towards the conclusion of our cover story on the highest battlefield on Earth. So that was all about the Siachen Glacier where our Indian Army dominates. If you like Siachen Field, share this with everyone and subscribe Komal Berry for more such content. Thank you.